This is Douglas James Cottrell speaking, and we continue in our video series answering your questions as you send them in to me about intuitive spiritual questions you might have on how to develop yourself to be a better spiritual being, how to develop the middle mind, how to enter into deep states and quantum meditation, which is something I am very well known for. You can Google my name, Douglas James Cottrell, and you'll see that there are many, many things I've been out there on the internet with. But I'm here today to help you develop yourself. And today's question is, are ghosts real? Are they spooky? Should I be afraid? Is there life after death? Well, let me tell you, I'm alive, and I believe I have a soul. When I pass away, I believe my soul is going to leave this frame, this body, and go back to where it came from, or what we would call the pre-existence. Now, it's post my life, so the pre-existence, when my soul entered into this body by its own free will and accord, and when it leaves this body, it's going to go back to where it came from by its own free will and accord. So the idea that the soul can enter into this body and it leaves the body when it chooses, leaves the door open to say, well, maybe it can do it again. I believe it can. And I believe we do it time and time again, because every time we come into this body, we learn a lesson. We learn what it's like to be black, to be white, to be red, to be yellow, to be rich, to be poor. All the consequences of the world and all the different lives that you see people in the world, I believe the soul wants to take on an experience and to learn what it's like to be in that experience. In Africa, in India, in Australia, in America, South America, England, it goes around the world picking out a family and a person, a body, a vehicle that suits its purpose. Okay, if that's the case, then when somebody passes away, what happens? I like to call them the experience of being a ghost people. What does that mean? Well, I'm a people, and when I die, I'm still going to be a people, only I'll be without a physical form. I don't like to call them ghosts. I don't like to call them spirits, because there's too much in the way of conjuring up imaginated bad things. Death should be looked upon not like the Green Reaper, but rather a cherub, a loving angel to come and take you. People who have had near-death experiences have had pleasant experiences, and some have had not so pleasant, where they found themselves in very difficult circumstances. Why and how that happens? Well, I can give you my opinion, which is that there are different heavens or levels of consciousness. The lower level is where the ghost people go who are mean and nasty. They still like to be mean and nasty even though they're dead. That is to say, physically dead. Those that are of us who ascend to higher consciousness and levels and are more loving, unconditional loving, if you will, go to the higher dimensions until you become a godlike person in a physical form, and you become an avatar, and then you go to the highest possible heaven there is. Now, I don't want to get in any arguments with anybody who says they know their religion and their religion teaches this or that. This is not a religious perspective. This is my, let me say, interpretation or my experiences through meditation, that I've come to this awareness of these other higher dimensions or these higher heavens. I mean, when I grew up, there was 3 heavens. There was hell, there was purgatory, and there was heaven above. That's 3. Many of the other religions have 5 or 15 different levels of consciousness. It doesn't matter. Are ghosts real? Yes, because when I pass away, I'm going to be a ghost. I'm going to drop in on my grandchildren, and maybe my children, and keep an eye on what they do with their inheritance, and I'm going to be watching them because I love them, because I care for them. I'm not going to hunt my enemies, although that's probably possible. The point being is that when you pass away, you are a ghost person. The problem is that when you die and you don't know it, let me say that again, when you pass away and you don't know that you have, you haunt or you hang around your old neighborhood, your old house. And since there's no time in that ever-present moment or in the ethers of the spiritual world, you can hang out in a house for hundreds of years and think it was just yesterday, in my humble opinion of what it's like. The idea that ghosts are real means that it's evidence that you have a soul and it exists beyond physical life. This is a good thing. Are there nasty sort of entities like poltergeists and incubus and succubus and demons or people with demonic intent? Of course there is, because there's bad people here in the world now, and when they become ghost people, they are not automatically going to be angelic and helpful. They're going to keep that meanness within their consciousness until it fades away, or until they change their mind, or until they have some sort of experience that forgives and they repent or they change. So how do you do this? How do you understand it? What's the difference? Well, here's what I found. People who are discarnate are afraid of the living. Yes, they are. You just tell them to go away, and then you add, and don't come back until I ask. And if they're just a ghost people who's a little confused, you can add, by the way, you passed away. Think of mom and dad or grandpa and grandma and look up. That's the secret. Tell them to look up. And when they do that, they instinctively rise up and they disappear. I've had that experience and had that opportunity to help people, ghost people, who are on the other side. Now, when your mom and dad show up, they won't look old and wrinkly. They'll look like they did in their 35 to 45 years of life, their late 30s, early 40s. They'll look young and vibrant. They might not say much. They'll just look at you and stand at the foot of the bed and smile over you. Something I would be doing to my children and my grandchildren, and I suspect so would you. So think about it next time when you wonder, are there such things as ghosts? Try to rename them to being ghost people and understand that in their world, without a physical form, this is not new to them. They have been there before, like you and I will be again. The previous existence is the same as the post-existence. The only difference is that when we pass over, we're not sure of where we are. We're kind of lost. Unless, of course, we have taken steps through meditation, through prayer, through association with various religious concepts and ideas, that we have an expectation that we are going to go to a higher dimension. And we will, because what you believe here in the world, it stays with you on the other side. This is Douglas James Cottrell speaking. I hope this has been helpful. Again, welcome to my series on explaining the spiritual world and how to use that middle mind, that soul mind that you have naturally. And remember always that faith is built upon belief, and belief is built upon evidence. Until next time, I'm wishing you peace and prosperity.